Tonight, you don't need to become a better version of yourself. You only need to return to being a human who has lived through a full day and who has every right to put that day down. There are nights like this. The body is tired, but the mind is still lit up like a room with the lights left on. Conversations replay themselves. Those "I should have" sentences keep pulling you back out of bed. I don't want you to fight any of that. I want you to do one small thing, very stoic, very human. Close the ledger, not to score yourself, not to pass judgment, just so today doesn't follow you into sleep like a wet shirt clinging to your skin. In the spirit of midnight reckoning, night is not a courtroom. Night is where things are returned to their proper places, so that tomorrow morning you wake lighter, clearer, able to begin again without being dragged by a verdict you handed down to yourself. You can imagine in front of you an invisible notebook, the night ledger. You don't need to write, just know this. Tonight I close the ledger, and I'll stay here, speaking softly, like someone keeping watch over an oil lamp, so you don't have to stand guard alone. There's a passage I want to place beside you, not as a lesson, but as a habit practiced by people who've lived too many days to forget this truth. If you don't close things, the mind opens endlessly. Seneca, a Stoic philosopher and a Roman statesman, once described his nightly ritual in a sentence so simple, so ordinary, like the sound of a door closing after a long day. When the light has been removed and my wife has fallen silent, aware of this habit that's now mine, I examine my entire day and go back over what I've done and said, hiding nothing from myself, passing nothing by. Listen carefully. He doesn't say, I punish myself. He says, I review. Hiding nothing, passing nothing by, not hiding to look better, not skipping over things to hurt less, just looking straight and letting it pass like water. That is a very quiet form of self-respect, the courage to look back and the kindness not to turn looking back into a trial. Tonight, I want you to borrow that spirit, but in the gentlest way. You don't need to replay the whole day. You don't need to rewind from morning to night. Just choose 3 points of contact, like touching 3 heartbeats of a day. The first is something you did right, however small. The second is a moment where you slipped, even if it happened only once. The third is a single reminder for tomorrow, however brief. And if nothing comes to mind right away, that's okay. Fatigue can blind us to what we did well and magnify what we did wrong. Tonight, we're only rebalancing, no tilt towards self-praise, no tilt towards self-punishment, just balance. The first beat. Today, what in you still held its character? Maybe you didn't speak cruelly even though you were angry. Maybe you kept doing the smallest part of the work when you wanted to quit entirely. Maybe you were kind to someone while your own thoughts were tangled. Don't dismiss small victories. Exhausted people often conclude, I did nothing today, because they only look for grand gestures. But Stoicism doesn't look for grandeur at night. It looks for integrity. One upright act is enough to say that today was not meaningless. And the moment you acknowledge that, just one sentence inwardly, the day becomes a little lighter. The second beat, where did you slip today? Just one moment. Don't drag an entire chain of mistakes into bed with you. Circle one single frame. A sentence you spoke too fast, a reaction you're not proud of, a moment you shrank yourself in your own mind. And as soon as you look at that frame, change your posture of seeing, not, why am I so bad? But what did I learn about my weakness? Self-blame is a loop that creates no new skills. Seeing the lesson is how you turn shame into guidance. Seneca reviewed his day not to hurt more. He looked so tomorrow would hurt less. And here is a very Stoic key that keeps you from being pulled into endless self-judgment. Epictetus, the Stoic teacher who was once a slave and later a philosopher, opens the Enchiridion with a calm dividing line. Some things are up to us and some are not up to us. Tonight, this line isn't meant to make you cold. It's meant to make you light. Up to us doesn't mean you can control your emotions instantly. It means you have the right to choose your interpretation, the right to choose the story you tell yourself. Not up to us is the part no amount of thinking can change. Other people's reactions, the past, details that already happened, things you've lost. Night is when we return what's not up to us to the night. So in the morning, our strength is saved for what is up to us. If you slip today, you may not have controlled the first impact of emotion, but you can control what you do with it now. Do you turn it into a sentence or into a gentle reminder? The third beat. What do you want to remind yourself of tomorrow? Just one sentence. It doesn't have to be beautiful. It doesn't have to be philosophical. One sentence is enough to act as a railing for the mind when it wants to slide downhill. For example, tomorrow I'll slow down before I respond. Or, tomorrow I'll only do what belongs to me. Or, tomorrow I won't add a story to the facts. You don't need to promise to change your whole life. You only need to set a small direction, like pointing the bow of a boat. Then you allow yourself to sleep, like someone who has finished the work of the night. Now I want you to hear the true nature of midnight reckoning so you don't unconsciously turn it into a court of law. It is a ritual of honesty, but also a ritual of mercy. Hiding nothing doesn't mean digging until it hurts. It means not lying to yourself. Passing nothing by doesn't mean clinging to mistakes. It means not ignoring the signals the day sent you. And once you've seen, you're allowed to set it down. Night doesn't need you to be perfect. Night only needs you to stop resisting. If your mind is still chattering, replaying old scenes, rebuilding arguments, demanding one more answer, I'm not asking it to be silent right away. I'm only offering a small phrase like closing a lid. Tonight, I close the ledger. You can repeat it a few times, not as an exercise, but like rain repeating on a rooftop. Steady, gentle, not argumentative. Tonight, I close the ledger. Tonight, I return what isn't mine. Tonight, I keep one thing I did right. Tonight, I take one lesson from one slip. Tonight, I save one sentence for tomorrow. And then, nothing more is required, because there is a gentle paradox. The harder you try to finish solving your life before sleep, the more sleep avoids you. But when you do only the true work of the night, closing the day with light discipline, sleep arrives naturally, not as a reward. And in the morning, you don't wake up with yesterday pressing on your chest. You wake up as someone who put yesterday back where it belongs in a ledger that's been closed. There is something strange about night. During the day, fear needs noise to exist. At night, silence alone is enough for it to speak. You don't summon it, you just lie still and it arrives. The what-ifs, the scenarios that haven't happened but already make your heart feel heavier. If you've ever thought Stoicism teaches people to suppress fear, tonight I want to set down a different view, the way Stoics actually used it to sleep more peacefully, not more rigidly. They didn't chase away what was bad. They invited it in, but they never handed it the controls. Marcus Aurelius, the Roman emperor who wrote not from a podium but in a military tent, left behind a line that sounds cold, yet warms you when night falls. You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. Listen closely. He doesn't say you have power over everything. He says you have power over how the mind interprets. Tonight, negative visualization is not about frightening yourself with worst-case futures. It's about separating events from the stories you attach to them, so fear no longer has exclusive rights to your bed. Imagine fear as a familiar guest who arrives very late. If you lock the door and pretend you're not home, it will stand outside knocking for hours. But if you open the door, look straight at it, and say, "I see you, but you're not staying the night," something strange happens. It softens. Negative visualization, in the Stoic sense, is opening the door briefly, not offering shelter, not letting it stay, just seeing the shape of fear clearly, because vagueness is what steals sleep. Seneca, who lived through both power and exile, wrote a line as clean as a single cut. We suffer more often in imagination than in reality. He doesn't deny pain. He reminds us that unmanaged imagination often hurts more than the event itself. Tonight, instead of arguing with every "what if," you only need to do one quiet thing. Put them under the light. No exaggeration, no coloring, just call them by their proper names. Maybe it's fear of losing a job. Call it the possibility of losing a job, not "my life is over." Maybe it's fear of losing someone. Call it the possibility of separation, not "I won't survive." Maybe it's fear of illness, reputation, aging, death. Name it accurately, and then stop. When you name fear correctly, it loses the right to tell the story. It no longer gets to write an entire novel in your head. It becomes a single line, enough to be seen, not enough to take over the bed. Epictetus, who lost everything except inner freedom, left a line that fits the night perfectly. It's not things that upset us, but our judgments about things. Negative visualization doesn't add more things, it thins out the judgments. You don't need to imagine everything collapsing. You only need to look at the intersection between what might happen and what's in your hands. The rest, the night will hold for you. And here is a gentle truth people rarely say. Negative visualization isn't meant for daytime. In daylight, it easily turns into anxiety. At night, done in the right rhythm, it becomes an antidote, because at night you're no longer acting, you're only interpreting, and interpretation is where Stoicism is strongest. Tonight, you don't need plan A, B, or C. You only need one boundary: what belongs to you and what does not. Marcus Aurelius reminded himself of this before sleep, not to grow sad, but to grow light. Do not let the future disturb you. You will meet it, if you have to, with the same weapons of reason which today arm you against the present. Tonight, you don't solve the future. You return the future to itself. You already carry enough weapons for tomorrow: reason, character, endurance. You don't need to bring them into bed. If one dark scenario keeps looping, you don't need to chase it away. Just whisper one short sentence, like placing a sign at the door. Not now. Not never. Just not tonight. Because tonight has a different function. Tonight isn't a conference room. Tonight is where exaggeration is reduced. And there's a small paradox. When you dare to look directly at the possibility of loss, you often sleep more soundly. Not because you become pessimistic, but because you stop being ambushed by imagination. Fear no longer attacks you at midnight. You've already met it under a dim light, and you've set a boundary. Before I leave this part, I want to place one last line, not to memorize, just to hear, from Marcus Aurelius like a slow breath. If you are distressed by anything external, the pain is not due to the thing itself, but to your estimate of it. And this you have the power to revoke at any moment. Tonight, you don't need to revoke every estimate. You only need to revoke the ones trying to stay the night. Now, if your chest feels even a little lighter, then part 2 has done its work. No more thinking is required. No conclusions are needed. Negative visualization, in its true Stoic sense, ends here, when fear has been seen, named, and politely asked to leave before sleep. In the next part, I'll guide you into an even quieter space, Memento Mori. Not to obsess over death, but to cut away what isn't worth carrying into tomorrow. There's a common misunderstanding that bringing up death is meant to make people sad. But for the Stoics, Memento Mori isn't darkness, it's a candle. It doesn't come to scare you, it comes to clear away what's unnecessary, so the room inside your mind has space for peace. And night is the best time to touch this, because at night you stop performing. You don't have to prove anything, you don't have to win. You're simply with yourself and with the simple truth that time is not something we own. It's only something we pass through. Tonight, I don't want you to live like it's your last day in a fiery, high-pressure way. No, I only want to take one small piece of the night, something very light, and see life from far enough away that the things that tightened you all day suddenly shrink, and what truly matters appears clearly, like a lamp in fog. Marcus Aurelius, the Roman emperor, once wrote a line he used like a rope to pull himself back to center, especially when his mind started running. You could leave life right now. Let that determine what you do and say and think. Hearing that line at night is different than hearing it in the daytime. In the daytime, it can sound like a push. At night, it sounds like release. It says, if everything could stop at any moment, why would I bring small things into bed and hand them the power to control my heartbeat? Memento Mori doesn't ask you to be afraid. It only asks you to be real. And the first real thing is this: most of what exhausted you today will not follow you forever. Arguments, messages, irritations, looks, standards. They're loud as if they're everything, but they are not everything. I want you to imagine something very simple. It doesn't have to be exact, just gentle enough to soften you. Imagine this is a normal night, the same bed, the same room, the same noise outside, but with one small difference. You know with a quiet certainty that tonight is your last night. No drama, no soundtrack, just the truth set down like a sheet of paper on a table. And the strange thing is, when you imagine it this way, so many things fall out of your hands on their own. You're no longer interested in proving yourself. You don't have the energy to hold on to resentment. You don't want to win an argument that won't mean anything by morning. You only want clarity. What is yours, what is not, what belongs close to your heart, and what should be returned to the world. That's why the Stoics didn't use Memento Mori as a daily obsession, because it's powerful. They used it as a kind of nighttime cleaning only once in a while to help the mind remember the true order of life. Marcus Aurelius, the Roman emperor, also wrote another line, like a soft knock at the door when we're caught up. Do not act as if you were going to live 10,000 years. Death hangs over you. While you live, while it is in your power, be good. At night, be good isn't a moral slogan. It's a simple reminder. Live in alignment with your character. because time isn't long enough for us to stay off course and keep saying, "I'll fix it later." And be good here doesn't mean doing something grand. It could mean being less harsh with yourself, apologizing to someone, letting one thing go. Not delaying one small action you know you should take. If you feel something inside you soften, that's normal. Memento Mori touches a very human place. But I want you to keep a Stoic rhythm, not sinking into fear, moving through the truth toward peace. Seneca, a Stoic philosopher who understood deeply how fragile power and life can be, once wrote as if he were speaking directly to itself at the end of the day. Let us prepare our minds as if we'd come to the very end of life. Let us postpone nothing. Let us balance life's books each day. You might hear end of life and feel heaviness, but listen to the rest. Postpone nothing. Balance life's books. What does that mean at night? It means don't take the most important things in your life and deposit them into tomorrow as a vague promise. Don't keep postponing a call. Don't keep postponing a kind sentence. Don't keep postponing living in alignment with yourself. And then at night, lying here asking why your heart feels empty. Memento Mori doesn't make life smaller, it makes life clearer. And sometimes what keeps people awake isn't work, it's the feeling that they're living misaligned with what they truly value. You can be busy and still feel hollow. You can achieve a lot and still feel like you've forgotten something you can't quite name. A small dose of Memento Mori at night places the question in the right spot, not harshly, just honestly. If this were your last night, what would you regret most? Not that you didn't finish an email, not that you didn't keep up with someone else. Usually it's this: you weren't present enough, you didn't love enough. You didn't live according to the good you know you're capable of. That regret, if left untouched, becomes anxiety. But if you look at it directly, it becomes guidance. Epictetus, the Stoic teacher who experienced loss in the roughest ways, has a distinctive voice. He doesn't sugarcoat, but he doesn't panic either. He reminds us that what can't be avoided doesn't need to become a second tragedy inside our heads. He has a line, blunt but freeing, like a door opening. I must die, must I then die groaning too? Tonight, you don't need to become someone who isn't afraid of death. You only need to become someone who stops hurting yourself one extra round. I must die is the fact. Groaning is what we add. And if you're losing sleep over what you can't control, time, age, change, loss, Memento Mori comes to whisper, don't add the groaning to what is already enough. Don't turn your bed into a rehearsal for suffering. Now, I want to move you away from the word death, which can feel heavy, and bring you back to something lighter, priorities. Memento Mori is not looking at death so the world goes dark. It's looking at death so life lights up in the right places. When you remember life isn't infinite, you waste less of your mind on things that aren't worth it. You kneel less to other people's opinions. You stop treating small mistakes like destiny. You stop demanding a perfect day before you allow yourself to feel peace. And you begin to treasure ordinary things, a deep breath, a quiet room, someone still there, a body still trying to carry you through the day. If this part made you quieter, that's exactly right. No conclusions are needed, no checklist, just let it do its work. Cut away what's extra and keep what's real. And once you see what's real, you can soften, because you no longer have to chase what only pretends to matter. In the next part, I'll lead you into an even softer space. silence and inner stillness. Not silence as escape, but silence as a gentle weapon of self-mastery, where you don't need one more idea in order to be at peace. There's a reason you can handle so much during the day, yet at night, even a small sound can make your mind surge. In the daytime, you're filled. At night, you're empty. And when you're empty, everything echoes louder. A sentence, a look, a small mistake, a vague worry. But that's exactly why night is where you can practice a rare strength. Inner silence. Not the silence of clenching your teeth and enduring, but the silence of someone who is no longer dragged around by every stimulus. The Stoics call it self-control, but I want to say it in a way you can feel. It's the moment you no longer have to stand guard. Some people think silence is emptiness, but real silence isn't empty. It's like a lake when the wind stops. Everything is still there. It's simply no longer being churned up. And in that moment, you begin to see what's happening beneath the surface. You begin to see that many thoughts aren't truth, they're just echo. And an echo doesn't need an answer, it only needs to run out of fuel. Marcus Aurelius, the Roman emperor, left a line that feels like directions home, especially on nights when the mind is tired. Nowhere you can go is more peaceful, more free of interruptions than your own soul. That line isn't telling you to become a monk. It's reminding you that peace isn't something you find out there, it's a place you return to. And if you spent all day inside noise, the noise of others, of tasks, of standards, of comparison, then tonight we don't need one more argument. We only need to return to the place least interrupted, your breathing and the space between two thoughts. But I know, telling an anxious mind to be quiet sounds like telling the ocean not to have waves. So the Stoics don't start by demanding silence right away. They start by changing your attitude toward noise. Epictetus, the most practical of Stoic teachers, offered a way of seeing that lowers reactivity. It is not he who reviles or strikes you who insults you, but your opinion that these things are insulting. Heard at night, that can become a switch. It says, what disrupts you isn't only the event, it's the way you cling to it with opinions, interpretations, stories. Inner silence begins when you stop gripping the story so tightly. Tonight, I want you to think of silence as a gentle weapon, not to attack, but to protect your energy, to protect your heartbeat, to protect your sleep from unnecessary battles. Some battles are worth fighting during the day, ethical choices, important decisions, but most nighttime battles in the mind have no real opponent, only imagination. And silence is how you stop supplying it. Seneca has a voice that fits this perfectly. He doesn't ask you to become a saint, he asks you to be less noisy. In a letter, he suggested we must learn how to live with ourselves without a crowd constantly running through our heads. He wrote like he was cautioning a friend. Be careful, however, lest this silence of yours and this retirement of yours be accompanied by some anxiety. Silence isn't for sitting there and worrying harder. Silence is for noticing worry happening and not joining it. You can picture your mind as a room. All day, people come and go, messages, deadlines, words, memories, predictions. Tonight, you don't need to throw anyone out by force. You only need to dim the lights. When the lights go down, the characters naturally stop performing so much. And the strange thing is, as stimulation decreases, self-control increases. Not because you're trying harder, but because you're being pulled less. Inner silence isn't having no thoughts. It's having thoughts without being carried away. Marcus Aurelius, the Roman emperor, reminded himself with a line that's short and firm, yet strangely softening. If you are pained by any external thing, it is not this thing that disturbs you, but your own judgment about it. At night, you don't need to fix every judgment. You only need to notice, I am judging. And the moment you notice, distance appears. That distance is silence. Here's a description of silence I love. Silence is when you stop answering every thought as if it's a mandatory question. So many thoughts are just wind. They pass through, they don't need your signature, they don't need your explanation, they don't need you to follow them. You can begin with one very simple sentence, not a command, just a gentle placement. I hear you. And then stop. No arguing, no rebuttal, no trying to make it disappear. Just acknowledgement without continuation. If that softens you, it's because in that moment you're no longer inside the fight. You shift from the one being dragged to the one observing. The Stoics didn't call this mystical meditation, they called it clear reason. But at night, I call it this. You sit down beside yourself. Now I want you to bring the silence to one very specific place, the space between two breaths. Not as a technique you have to do correctly, just as a place where you can set your mind down. You will always have breath. You will always have the rhythm of in and out. And the most beautiful thing is, breath doesn't argue. It doesn't demand that you understand. It simply shows up. And when you place your attention on something that doesn't argue, the rest of your mind slowly stops arguing too. Let the noise exist like distant traffic. It's there, but it doesn't require you to step into the street. Inner silence isn't hearing nothing. It's not being forced to go with everything you hear. And if tonight you can do only one thing, just one, let it be this. Allow a few seconds of non-reaction. Just a few seconds. A small gap, like a door cracking open. For many people, that is the first time they feel they have a choice. In the next part, I'll guide you into Stoic journaling, but still with the night spirit, not turning it into homework. It will feel like a letter to your tomorrow self. One sentence, a few lines, just enough so you wake up and don't get lost inside your own mind. A letter to your tomorrow self. There's a very particular moment in the night when everything has gotten quieter, but the mind still wants to hold on to something just in case. It's like standing at your front door before bed and checking the lock one more time, not because you don't trust it, but because you want to feel at ease. Stoic journaling at night is the same. It's not dumping complaints onto a page. It's not dissecting your life into a diagram. It's simply a small action that helps your mind stop carrying everything on its back. You set it down neatly, and then you're allowed to sleep. Seneca, someone who knew both powerful days and dangerous ones, did this as a ritual. No drama, no romance, no performance. When the lamp has been removed from my sight, and my wife, no stranger now to my habit, has fallen silent, I examine the whole of my day and retrace my actions and words. I hide nothing from myself, pass over nothing. When you hear the word examine, don't imagine a tense inspection. Think, rereading a page, gently. And because it's gentle, it can actually save your sleep. Tonight, your journaling doesn't need to be long. In fact, the longer it gets, the easier it turns into a meeting. Night doesn't need a meeting. Night only needs a short letter, like a soft reminder for tomorrow. Imagine your tomorrow self sitting on the edge of the morning bed, No coffee yet, not pulled into deadlines yet, still in a clear moment. And you, right now, tired, only want to send that person a small piece of light. Not to control them, just to guide them. This letter has 3 backbone lines, and you don't even have to call them questions if you don't like that word. Call them 3 heartbeats. The first beat, what did I do right today, even if it was small? The second beat, what did I not do right today, and what lesson did I take from it in one sentence? The third beat, what do I want to remind myself tomorrow? One sentence. Just 3 beats, like closing 3 simple locks. And the most important thing, journaling is not where you hurt yourself. If you write to punish yourself, you'll become more awake. If you write to vent, sometimes you just pour more oil on sadness. Stoic journaling is writing so your mind can stop looping. You write it down so the loop ends there, on the page, instead of running back and forth in your head all night. Here's a small secret. The Stoics didn't write to sound deep. They wrote to survive. Marcus Aurelius, the Roman emperor, wrote meditations as private notes to himself, like someone reminding himself to keep his dignity in a noisy world. And when you feel yourself being pulled by public opinion, by comparison, by things beyond your reach, I want to set down one of his lines, like ink that calms a page. Look within. Within is the fountain of good, and it will ever bubble up if thou wilt ever dig. Dig here doesn't mean digging until it hurts. It means digging until you reach the source. Meaning, instead of begging peace from the outside, you turn inward and find the good that's still there. Even if you were tired today, even if you slipped today, even if you weren't perfect. So your letter to your tomorrow self can start with something very ordinary. Today I tried. Not cheap comfort, just truth. If you made it through the day, you tried. Then you acknowledge one thing you did right, even if it was small. Sometimes one right thing is enough to save the way you see yourself. Because overthinking minds do something brutal. They use one mistake to blacken the entire person. Stoic journaling does the opposite. It puts the mistake back at its true size. Then you touch what wasn't right, but only the way you touch fire to learn it's hot. Not to burn yourself. You write one sentence of learning, just one. For example, today I reacted too fast. Tomorrow I'll slow down before I answer. That's it. No digging through childhood, no psychological surgery. Night is not an operating room. Night is where you bandage a scratch with honesty and kindness. And then the final sentence. The one sent into the morning. Here, if you want, you can use a short line from Marcus as a marker. He once wrote something very dry, yet it stops the mind from spiraling. Waste no more time arguing about what a good man should be. Be one. Tonight, be one isn't a call to become a hero. It simply means, tomorrow, don't spend so much time arguing in your head about who you must be. Do one small thing that matches your character, just one, and let the rest flow. If this kind of journaling feels too simple, that's a sign it's right. Because before sleep, we don't need complexity, we need clarity, just enough to feel safe. The Aquinas-style script you mentioned has one powerful strength. It speaks like a blessing, not like a lecture. Stoic journaling at night should feel the same. Your page is not a report card, it's a shelter. And one more thing, perfect for the lullaby rhythm you want for your channel. Journaling shouldn't wake you up more, it should make your eyelids heavier. That means slow rhythm, simple words, short sentences. Like leaving footprints for yourself in fog, so that in the morning when you step out of bed, you don't get lost in yesterday's noise. If you want to place one last gentle seal at the end of the letter, you can borrow a line from Epictetus, not to memorize, just to slip into your pocket like a small note. Every day and night, keep thoughts like these at hand. Write them, read them aloud, talk to yourself and others about them. Daily Stoic. What he's really saying in the end is simply this. Keep a few true ideas close, so when the world pulls you away, you still have a rope to pull yourself back. And now, when the letter is done, even if it's only 3 lines, you finish the work of the night. You look back without convicting yourself. You took one lesson without drowning yourself. You sent tomorrow a small direction. The rest, the night will do for you. You don't need to keep thinking in order to earn sleep. You already deserve it, simply because you're human and you made it through a day. In the next part, I'll guide you into Amor Fati, not the toxic positivity kind, but a quiet transformation, turning what happens against your wishes into fuel for growth, in the soft, repeating, lullaby rhythm you want to keep. There is a thin moment between enduring and transforming. Most of us live on the enduring side. We try to get through the day, try not to break, try to keep our face normal while inside we're exhausted. But the Stoics take one step further, not the step of naive optimism, but the step of someone who has looked life in the eye and decided, if life is going to throw things at me without asking permission, then I won't let those things become poison. I will turn them into fuel. That is the spirit of Amor Fati. To love fate, not because everything is beautiful, but because everything can become training for virtue. If negative visualization helped you look at fear under a lamp, if Memento Mori helped you rearrange your priorities, if silence helped you stop reacting, if journaling helped you set the day down onto paper, then Amor Fati is the next step. You don't only put the burden down, you learn how to carry it in a way that doesn't ruin your back. Seneca, who knew what it was to be praised and what it was to be pushed aside, wrote a line as sharp as a blade, cutting your idea of bad luck in half. Misfortune is virtue's opportunity. When you hear opportunity, don't think of profit. This is opportunity in a deeper sense, the place where virtue has ground to grow. Without difficulty, courage is only a concept. Without loss, gratitude becomes decoration. Without insult, calmness is only a style. The thing that hurts you, if you see it correctly, can also be the thing that matures you. Marcus Aurelius, the Roman emperor, described the spirit with an image that is vivid and alive. A blazing fire makes flame and brightness out of everything that is thrown into it. Tonight, you don't need to become the fire immediately. You only need to understand what he's pointing to. There is a way of living where what gets thrown at you no longer decides the color of your life. It only decides the material you use to shape yourself. Fire doesn't ask for perfect fuel. It doesn't demand that life match its preferences. It does its work. It transforms. And this is the difference between Amor Fati and enduring. Enduring usually carries an unspoken sentence. Life is hurting me. Amor Fati changes that sentence into, life is giving me an exercise. Not an exercise to prove anything to anyone, an exercise to become steadier. When the sentence changes, your posture changes. The posture of a victim makes you rigid. The posture of someone training makes you softer, soft, but not weak. But I also don't want you to mistake Amor Fati for the slogan, everything happens for a reason, or everything is good. No, The Stoics don't say that. They say something harder. Everything that happens can be used well. The good isn't inside the event. The good is in your response, in the way you keep your character when life pulls you off your plan. Epictetus, whose voice is like an anchor, said it plainly in his manual. Don't demand that things happen as you wish, but wish that they happen as they do happen, and you will go on well. Listen closely to the second wish. This isn't whatever. This is agreement with reality. When you agree with reality, you waste less energy fighting what already happened. And the moment you stop fighting, you have energy to live the next part, the part that is in your hands. Some nights you can't sleep because of a question that sounds perfectly reasonable. Why is this happening to me? Amor Fati doesn't answer with a long philosophy. It only changes the question. It turns why into now. Now, what will I do so I don't lose my character? Do you see it? It's a small pivot, but it frees you. Why pulls you back into the past. Now returns you to the present. And the present is where you still have power. Marcus Aurelius has another line in the same current, like the mechanics of fire itself. The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way. Tonight, you don't need to turn obstacles into victory. You only need to see this. The obstacle is sometimes the training path. People don't learn patience when everything is smooth. They don't learn courage when nothing is frightening. They don't learn humility when they're praised nonstop. The obstacle isn't the thing that ruined my life. It's the thing that forces me to grow in the right place. And there's a crucial part of Amor Fati that content creators often miss. It isn't a teaching that tells you to endure more. It's a teaching that tells you to stop hurting yourself a second time. The first time is the event. The second time is the story you tell about the event. I'm always unlucky. I never get it. Life hates me. Those sentences add pain, and they steal your sleep. Amor Fati doesn't deny pain, but it doesn't let pain write the verdict. Tonight, if there's one thing you're carrying, one failure, one rejection, one betrayal, one delay, one slip, try looking at it with Stoic eyes. What is it teaching me about patience, about courage, about justice, about moderation, about wisdom? You don't have to answer in words, just feel the direction of the question. That direction is a way out of the spiral. Amor Fati also has a quiet tenderness. It gives back to you the sense that you are not being steered by life like a boat with no rudder. Life can change the wind. But you can still adjust the sails, and when you truly believe that, you sleep differently. You sleep like someone who knows tomorrow may be hard, but I am not helpless in the face of hard. Seneca once hinted that people who are spoiled for too long become weak when waves arrive. But someone who has learned to treat adversity as training is less shocked, less panicked. Amor Fati doesn't make life easier, it makes you less breakable. And sometimes that alone is a kind of miracle. If you've listened this far and feel a light, empty space in your chest, as if something has just been set down, that's a good sign. Amor Fati doesn't hype you up. It doesn't wind you tight. It does one thing. It turns burden into training, turns unfairness into lesson, turns I'm stuck into I'm being strengthened. And when that shift happens, you don't have to tense yourself in order to sleep. You can release. In the next part, I'll guide you into reset anger. Not so you become someone who never gets angry, but so anger doesn't pull you out of sleep, and so you don't pay for a hot moment tonight with tomorrow morning's cost. There's a kind of sleeplessness that doesn't come from fear. It comes from a small fire still smoldering in your chest. The lights are off, but inside your head, a conversation keeps going. One sentence you should have said differently, one person you should have responded to differently, one injustice you can't swallow. And the most frustrating part is this: anger often doesn't admit it's anger. It wears the mask of justice. It wears the mask of, I have to be right. It wears the mask of, I can't let this go. But at night, that kind of justice doesn't help you. It only keeps you awake. The Stoics don't tell you anger is bad. They say something more practical. Anger is a form of lost self-control, and it costs you your peace. Seneca, who wrote an entire work on anger, looked directly at it like a sickness of reason. Anger, if not restrained, is frequently more hurtful to us than the injury that provokes it. Tonight, you don't need to prove who was wrong. You only need to protect your peace from the thing that is harming you more than the event itself. There's a quiet law of anger. It always wants one more round. It wants you to replay the scene, add one more comeback, one more jab, one more imagined victory. And while you win in your head, your body loses for real. Your heart rate climbs, your shoulders tighten, your stomach hardens, and sleep moves further away. Reset anger. Tonight isn't about swallowing anger. It's about cutting the power to the loop. Marcus Aurelius, the Roman emperor, has a line that sounds like a reminder from someone who has seen too much to be dragged around by small things. How much more grievous are the consequences of anger than the causes of it? Tonight, you don't have to forgive immediately. You only have to see clearly. What consequences is your anger creating in your body and mind right now? And if the consequence is lost sleep, lost calm, a lost tomorrow, then reset anger begins here with one very small decision. Tonight, I won't pay extra. The Stoics often did something simple and extremely effective. They pulled anger out of the story and brought it back to the facts. The facts are, someone said a sentence, someone did a thing. Something happened not the way you wanted. The story is, they disrespected me. They looked down on me. I was betrayed. The story makes anger grow. The facts are much smaller. Epictetus said it plainly in one tight line, like a clean cut through the spiral. When you are offended at any man's fault, turn to yourself and study your own failings. Then you will forget your anger. Tonight, that line isn't asking you to blame yourself. It's only reminding you, you are human too. And when you remember that, anger often loses some of its right to turn you into a judge. But if right now you feel, I can't look at it that way yet, that's okay. Reset anger doesn't start with high philosophy. It starts with something physical. Noticing where anger's living in your body, maybe in your throat, maybe in your chest, maybe in your stomach, maybe your jaw is clenched. And the moment you notice the location, you've already done something important. You've shifted from I am anger to I am having anger. That small distance is an exit door. Seneca had advice that fits night perfectly. Delay. Not delaying the issue, delaying the reaction. He essentially said anger loves speed, while reason needs time. Tonight, speed kills your sleep. Time saves it. And you can place one simple sentence down, like closing a door gently. I'll handle it with reason tomorrow. Not ignore it, just not in the night. Marcus Aurelius also reminds us of something that shrinks anger. People do wrong because they don't know, or because they're hurting, or because they're misaligned. He wrote, when you wake up in the morning, tell yourself, The people I deal with today will be meddling, ungrateful, arrogant, dishonest, jealous, and surly. And then he explains they're that way because they can't tell good from evil. Tonight, I don't need you to read the whole long passage. I only want you to taste one idea. If you expect the world to behave perfectly, you'll be angry your whole life. But if you understand that people often behave at the level of their maturity, you'll be less surprised and less pulled around. Reset anger also has a very Stoic step, changing the target. Anger wants to win, reason wants to be right, but right in the Stoic sense isn't being right in an argument, it's being right in character. Tonight, right means you keep your composure. Right means you don't say something you'll have to apologize for tomorrow. Right means you don't do something that makes your life harder just because of one hot minute. You might be thinking, but they were wrong. Yes, they may have been wrong. But the night's question isn't who was wrong. The night's question is, what right do I have over my sleep? You can hold anger like a burning coal in your hand and say, I'm right, but you'll be the one getting burned. Seneca said it bluntly, holding anger is punishing yourself before you punish anyone else. And if your goal is peace, then reset anger is the wiser choice. Now, to end this part in a lullaby rhythm, I want you to picture anger as a wave. It comes, it rises, and then it falls. If you stand on the shore and watch, it passes on its own. If you rush into the middle and swim against it, you exhaust yourself. Tonight, you don't need to swim. You only need to stay on the shore. And if there's one last sentence to place down like a stone at the door, let it be this line from Marcus Aurelius, the Roman emperor, short, cold, and effective. The best revenge is not to be like your enemy. Meaning, don't let someone else's behavior pull you into becoming a version of yourself you don't respect. So tonight, you don't need to win. You only need to sleep. You don't need to resolve everything. You only need to place anger outside your bedroom door, the way you leave your shoes on the mat. Tomorrow, in daylight, you can handle it. But now, in this gentle dark, you're allowed to choose something rare, to stop. In the next part, I'll guide you into view from above, a camera pullback that makes problems smaller, comparison smaller, and compassion larger, in the same soft, repeating lullaby rhythm you want to keep. There are nights when you lie still, but inside it's as if a magnifying glass is pressed right up against one tiny point. A criticism, a mistake, money worries, loneliness, the question, where am I going? When the magnifying glass is too close, the smallest thing becomes a monster. And you start breathing as if the world is collapsing, when really your mind is simply standing at the wrong distance. View from above isn't ignoring your problems. It's changing the distance so you can see the true size of life, your true place inside life, and the true amount of energy this moment deserves. Marcus Aurelius, the Roman emperor, left one clear instruction for this practice, sounding like someone pulling you out of a cramped room and up onto a hill to look down over the city. Look down from above on the countless herds of men and their countless solemnities, and the infinitely varied voyagings and storms and calms, and the varieties of those who are born, who live together and die. Hearing that line at night, you feel everything slow down. Countless herds of men, endless people, countless solemnities, endless rituals, drama, self-seriousness, voyagings in storms and calms, journeys through chaos and through peace. He's saying, what you're living isn't an exception, isn't only you. It's part of the human rhythm, birth, life, collision, loss, and passing. What view from above does best isn't making you cold, it's making you less pulled around. When you pull the camera back, the ego stops being placed at the center. And strangely, when the ego isn't at the center, pain presses less. Not because pain disappears, but because it no longer has the right to take over the entire sky. It becomes a cloud, not the whole climate. Tonight, you don't need to imagine yourself flying into outer space in some elaborate way. Just picture it like this. You're looking at your life the way you'd look at a night map. There are bright roads, things you're doing well. There are dark stretches, things you don't understand yet. There are intersections, choices you're standing inside, and you realize one bad day isn't a bad journey. One clumsy sentence isn't a clumsy person. One delay isn't a life sentence. View from above returns you to the correct scale. Marcus Aurelius has another line in the same spirit. Aim straight at overthinking. It isn't the event that suffocates you, it's the extra, unnecessary things you pile onto the event. He wrote, "Thou canst remove out of the way many useless things among those which disturb thee, for they lie entirely in thy opinion. And thou wilt then gain for thyself ample space by comprehending the whole universe in thy mind and by contemplating the eternity of time." Useless things, the excess, lie entirely in thy opinion. They live entirely in your interpretation. And then he says, the most important part, when you remove the excess, you gain ample space. You get your space back. Tonight, what you're missing may not be the answer. It may be space. View from above creates space by placing you beside the eternity of time, a time horizon longer than the moment you're trapped in. When you set your problem beside the rapid change of every several thing, the fast changing of everything, you naturally stop believing in the feeling of forever. Anxiety loves the word forever because it scares you. I'll always be like this, I'll never get out, I'm ruined. But from above, you see everything changes constantly. Both joy and grief refuse to stay forever. And there's a gentle gift inside view from above. It expands compassion. When you see people as voyagings in storms and calms, you begin to understand. Everyone is trying to cross some storm. Some just hide it better than you do. The person who irritates you may be tired too. The person who spoke poorly may be afraid too. That doesn't make them right, but it makes you less poisoned by the need to hate. And when hate lessens, sleep comes easier. If you're lonely, view from above does something important too. It doesn't say you're not lonely in a cheap way. It says this feeling belongs to being human. And therefore, it doesn't make you lesser. You're not defective. You're simply living through a part of life that many people walk through in silence. When you see that, you stop feeling ashamed of what you feel. And when shame dissolves, the mind stops thrashing. Tonight, let view from above leave you with a soft ending. You don't have to strain to be important. You're already important in another way. You're part of the whole, a link in life, a person learning to be human. Pulling the camera back isn't to make you feel so small you don't matter. It's to make you feel small and therefore free. Free from the pressure to be perfect. Free from needing to win every argument in your head. Free from turning one night into a courtroom. In the next part, I'll lead you into breath training, but the way you want it. Not as a doctor exercise, but as a storytelling rhythm that helps the body receive a signal of safety, so sleep arrives naturally without effort. There's something strange about it. You can understand everything with your mind, and your body still refuses to believe. You can tell yourself, it's fine, and your heart still races. You can say, I'm okay, and your shoulders still brace, your jaw still clenches, your stomach still hardens like it's waiting for impact. And so you lie there, eyes closed, while your nervous system stands guard as if the night were a battlefield. Because for the body, peace isn't an idea. Peace is a signal. And breath, simple, quiet, is the oldest signal we have. It doesn't need you to believe. As long as you're breathing, it's there, like a thread tying you back home. The Stoics often speak about reason, judgments, ways of seeing, but they also understood something deeply practical. If you want the mind to settle, sometimes you have to give the body a reason to stop scanning for danger. Marcus Aurelius, the Roman emperor, wrote a line that sounds like a reminder for the moments we get pulled away from ourselves. Nowhere you can go is more peaceful, more free of interruptions than your own soul. And at night, the shortest road back to your own soul is often not thinking more, but returning to the breath, where there is no argument, no script, only life happening right now. I don't want to turn this part into an exercise. You don't need to do it right. You don't need perfect counting. You don't need technique. You only need to listen the way you listen to rainfall. Steady, slow, not demanding. Your breath can be shallow, it can be deep, it can be messy. That's okay. Tonight, what matters isn't controlling the breath. What matters is letting the breath become the place you rest your mind, something simple enough that you can't overthink your way out of it. Epictetus, the Stoic teacher who always brings us back to what is within our power, has a line that becomes very gentle when placed beside the breath. Some things are up to us and some are not up to us. At night, you can't control what the past already did. You can't control what tomorrow will bring. But you can touch something that belongs to you right now, the in and out rhythm of life. And the moment you touch it, the body learns, I'm here, I don't have to run. Think of breath like an anchor dropped to the ocean floor. The surface can still be rough, thoughts still racing, memories flashing, anxiety knocking. But deeper down, there is a layer of quieter water. You don't need to flatten the waves. You only need to remember you have an anchor. And each time you remember, you pull yourself down a little, away from the surface, closer to calm. Seneca warned that we often suffer more in imagination than in reality. Night is where imagination exaggerates most easily, and breath is how you return to reality without arguing, not, I must believe everything will be fine, just, I am breathing. That's all, and strangely, I am breathing can be stronger than 100 reassuring sentences, because it's physical truth, no persuasion required. If you want an image to carry through this part, imagine stepping into a very dark room where there's a small candle. You can't light every corner, and you don't need to. You only need enough light to stand still without panic. Your breath is that circle of light. You don't use it to solve everything. You use it to stay present without getting lost. And in that stillness, something very stoic is happening, but it doesn't need big words. You are learning not to react immediately to every impulse. You are giving yourself a small delay. You are practicing real power, the power not to be dragged, not the power to control the world, the power to control the direction of your attention. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this and you will find strength." Tonight, power over your mind might be nothing more than one moment when you return to your breath instead of chasing a thought. Just one moment, and if there's another moment, you return again. No self-praise, no self-criticism, just returning, like returning to a dock. You may notice that when you stay with the breath long enough, even briefly, something begins to soften. The body stops treating darkness like a threat. The heart slows, the shoulders lower, the jaw unclenches. And when the body stops keeping watch, the mind stops having to keep watch too. Not because you did the technique correctly, but because you sent one simple signal: safe. If you're struggling to sleep because you're lonely, breath also does something quietly. It gives you the sense that someone is with you, not someone else, but life itself inside you. The longest nights aren't frightening because they're dark. They're frightening because we feel there's no one there. But breath says there is. There is a rhythm here. There is something carrying you through each second. And the moment you notice it, you're not completely alone inside your head anymore. I want to end this part with something very light, like placing a hand on your chest and then letting it rest. You don't need to turn breath into a goal. You only need to let it become the path back. And every time you return, you're living the Stoic spirit, returning to what is real, what is present, what belongs to you. The next part will be the final one, detachment drills, but in the same rhythm. Not teaching like a lesson plan, but telling it like a late night ritual, where you loosen what clings to you so you wake up lighter, steadier. There is an ancient way of seeing life that, if you truly let it reach you at night, can soften the heart like water. It is this: life is not something you hold forever. It's something you pass through. You borrow a room. You borrow a body. You borrow an identity. You borrow a role. And so much suffering comes from forgetting the word borrowed and then living as if everything must belong to us forever. Detachment in the Stoic spirit is not coldness. It's not neglect. It's not the inability to love. It's loving without suffocating, living without clinging, holding without squeezing. Tonight, this final part isn't meant to make you emotionless. It's meant to help you sleep like someone who has finally stopped bracing. Epictetus, the Stoic teacher who speaks in the language of inner freedom, once said something simple and deep: don't explain your philosophy, embody it. Tonight, embody doesn't mean doing something big. Embody could mean simply this: set it down. Set down an opinion, a comparison, a need to be recognized, a demand that life must treat you fairly immediately. You don't have to agree with life. You just stop wearing it to bed. I want to open this part with an image. Exile meditation. Exile. Not exile in a tragic sense, but a gentle imagination that loosens your dependence on comfort and habit. Just for a few seconds, imagine you're not sleeping in this room. You're somewhere unfamiliar, a guest house, a borrowed room, a bed that isn't yours. You are still you. You are still breathing. There is still a sky out there. There is still night. And you realize the most important part of you does not live in objects. It lives in character, in adaptability, in presence. The Stoics used this kind of imagination to remember, if life changes the stage one day, I can still carry what matters. And when you truly believe that, you fear loss less. Marcus Aurelius, the Roman emperor, wrote a line that pulls you away from worshiping comfort. Very little is needed to make a happy life. It is all within yourself, in your way of thinking. Very little isn't a command to live miserably. It's a reminder. Happiness doesn't need to be guarded by 100 conditions. It can breathe even when life isn't perfect. Then there is the pre-mortem. But tonight I don't want it to mean think about what goes wrong tomorrow. I only want you to hear something light. Tomorrow may have glitches. A plan may collapse. Someone may not respond. Something may not go your way. And if so, you will still live. You will still have a choice. Respond with panic or respond with character. Amor Fati already planted that seed. Detachment is simply keeping that seed from being blown away by wind. Now comes the cloak of indifference. The cloak of indifference in the right places. Not indifference to morality, but indifference to what isn't yours. Other people's opinions. Many people don't lose sleep because of work, but because of the imagined gaze of others. A judgment, a look, a fear of being misunderstood. Marcus Aurelius, who was truly watched by millions, wrote a line like placing a stone on a cloud. I do my duty, other things trouble me not. Tonight, if you need one sentence to seal things, take it. You do your part. The rest you don't carry into bed. And here is a sharp point of detachment. No one owes me. Not to make you bitter, to make you less disappointed. So much anger and quiet resentment come from an invisible contract. I was good, so life must be good back. I tried, so others must recognize it. I sacrificed, so everything must go smoothly. But life didn't sign that contract. People didn't sign it either. When you see this, you don't become cold. You become free. You can still do what's right, but you stop doing it as a trade for validation. Seneca's voice fits here because he understood the cost of living on praise. It is not the man who has too little, but the man who craves more. That is poor. Craves isn't only money, it's craving recognition, craving to be loved in a specific way, craving a world that must run according to your preferences. Detachment is when you say, I will not let life lead me by that craving anymore. Body is borrowed. The body is borrowed. Night makes this clearest. You lie down, and no matter your ambition, the body still needs rest. No matter how much you want to stay young, the body still changes. No matter how much you want control, the body keeps its own rhythm. The Stoics didn't hate the body. They cared for it, but they didn't worship it, because worship breeds fear. Fear of aging, fear of ugliness, fear of illness, fear of loss. But when you see the body as borrowed, you care for it with gratitude, not panic. Role reversal, placing yourself in the position of the person who bothers you. Tonight, you don't need to do this like a homework exercise. Just hear one idea. The other person is human too. They have fears, history, bad days. That doesn't make wrong behavior right, but it shrinks hatred enough for you to sleep. And sleeping isn't losing. Sleeping is choosing not to let someone else sit in the driver's seat of your nervous system. Indifference to comfort, less dependence on convenience. This isn't asceticism, it's freedom. You can love warm blankets, a nice scent, music, gentle light. Those things are beautiful. But if you can only feel okay when everything is perfect, then you've handed the key to your peace to the outside world. The Stoics want you to keep the key. So once in a while, only once in a while, they remind you, I can sleep with simplicity, I can be okay with less, as long as reason and breath are still here. Insomnia as teacher, sleeplessness as a teacher. On nights you can't sleep, it can feel like a curse. But detachment can shift the angle. This is training in patience. not as fake comfort, but to reduce panic, because panic is what keeps you awake longer. If tonight you can't sleep immediately, you can whisper, "All right, I'll practice patience." That's all. And the moment you stop treating sleeplessness as catastrophe, you pull a major thorn out of the nervous system. Fast from judgment. Fasting from judgment. Some nights your head is heavy because you've judged too much. Judging yourself, judging others, judging life. Judgment consumes energy. It keeps the mind working. And night needs you to be unemployed for a while. Unemployed from the job of being a judge. Marcus Aurelius has a line that can work like a Stoic sleep charm. Be tolerant with others and strict with yourself. But tonight, I want you to bend it slightly. Be strict with yourself about character, but gentle with yourself about mistakes. Because if you're strict in order to beat yourself, you'll stay awake. But if you're strict in order to learn, then forgive in order to sleep, you'll feel lighter. Stranger's bed, hourglass. Your bedroom is temporary and time is like sand. You don't need to fear this, just let it remind you. Don't postpone your life over small things. Don't postpone kind words. Don't postpone becoming the version of yourself you respect. But don't turn that into pressure. Memento Mori already told us, don't live every day like the last day. Use it only occasionally to clean your priorities. Tonight, Detachment uses it to make the bed inside your mind. Fewer possessions, fewer burdens, less ego, fewer invisible contracts, less need to be seen. And here's the closing piece you mentioned in your outline: emotional poverty. Poverty in the sense of not needing praise in order to live rightly. This is one of the most distinctive elements if you want your channel to have a soul. People are exhausted because they live in an economy of validation. They do good to be seen, they strive to be recognized, they fear being overlooked, and at night, when no one is watching, they fall into emptiness. Detachment says that emptiness is not a sentence, it is freedom. You can still do what is right even if no one knows. And that makes you strong in a very quiet way. Marcus Aurelius, the Roman emperor, wrote, as if warning himself before sleep, "It never ceases to amaze me. We all love ourselves more than other people, but care more about their opinion than our own." Tonight, if you're suffering because you feel judged, because of views, algorithms, recommendations, whether people understand you, let that line land like a rock. Other people's opinions are wind. Your character is roots. Wind can shake the tree, but it doesn't have to uproot it. So the night's ritual ends here, not with a rallying cry, but with a stripping away. You don't need to carry reputation into bed. You don't need to carry invisible contracts into bed. You don't need to carry demands that life must follow your preferences into bed. You carry only what belongs to you: reason, character, and breath. And if I'm allowed to place one final sentence down, a sentence that fits the gym of the soul, I'd choose this line from Marcus Aurelius, like a door closing softly. You can leave this life at any time. Have this possibility in your mind in all that you do or say or think. Not to scare you, only to wake you up. To stop postponing peace. To remember that tonight, the most correct thing in front of you isn't solving life, it's resting. Rest is discipline too. Rest is character too. And when you allow yourself to rest, you're doing something deeply stoic. You're preparing for tomorrow by not destroying tomorrow tonight.